Greetings, everybody. We have gathered around the table again today for another episode. And just to kick it off again, going to once again remind everyone about the little contest that Nick Shabazz is having. Link right up in here for clicking through to get to his video that has the breakdown of the voting and the link to the voting form and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's just a contest he's running to help showcase small-time start-out YouTube reviewers and stuff like that. So
That's us.
yeah.
Just helping grow the community.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, vote for us and everybody else as well, because it makes us all better. Yeah, now that that's done, kick things off with pocket dumps.
Okay.
You've been voted off the island.
I got the good old-fashioned ZT 801. 108. New.
A little dyslexic tonight.
A little bit. 801. Kind of a purpley blue anode.
Little splash of color
Yeah.
from yourself. Yeah.
It is the old version with the old milling.
It is, yes. And it definitely still needs a pocket clip, so I can get a little more pocket carry on this thing.
Yeah, there's ways to do that,
They're
but
just one email away.
it means
Yeah,
doing it.
You gotta do the thing. I'm
Yeah.
terrible at doing the thing.
That's not
I
good.
did the thing like 4 times last year.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
You may want to take a break from doing the thing.
4 times.
It's
He's
a
bragging.
record.
Quarterly. It's quarterly.
All right, Joe.
Without a good segue, going with a little slip joint today.
Mhm.
The old Northwoods Hawkbill Dealio.
Yep.
1095. He's fun.
Can't go wrong.
I don't think this has been on the show since we did the traditional.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've been really loving it lately.
It's a
So
very fun little knife.
I've been playing with this guy, Kelly 3, the carbon fiber with the ZDP.
It's a nice one.
Yeah, going back to
Schmutz.
the ZDP because of how awesome the edge is on this, and it's one of those steels that a lot of people don't talk about. But Pete from Center Canada just did some cut testing with ZDP with the stretch and stuff, and reminded me of how awesome it actually is. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
And then I've got my Nishishin little
2 Spydercos.
Yeah. It happens
Give it
sometimes.
some attention.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just a real big fan of the Nishishin, and plus it's kind of fun to say. Yeah.
I was gonna
Very
say,
pretty scales.
It is,
very,
yeah.
yeah.
keep an eye on your Semenza. I'm going to turn into
What's
a
the
spider
steel on
color
that one?
watcher.
It's a VG10 in this guy.
And don't you dare do that to my Spencer. You monster.
So this week we have a new offering from Benchmade, one of the more unique designs that they've come out with recently,
That's one way of putting it.
the 380 Allure, however it's supposed to be said.
LA!
No. Sounds like a Frankenstein.
Yep. I'm going to start this off very quickly by saying that I am a white boy. I don't pronounce French properly. That being said, there's your warning. I'm going to mangle French words in pronunciation in this video, such as the Allure. I'm calling it the Allure because I know I'll be able to say it Allure the whole time or whatever it is.
We're all going to butcher all the French. Not intentionally, just it's going to happen.
We don't speak it.
I may not even make the attempt. I'm gonna be honest.
But it's still a knife, regardless of what you call it, how you call it,
Yep.
which country you call it in.
Mhm. So this was designed by 2 Frenchmen, Patrick Famine and Eric de Montgevert.
And that is the last time those names will be pronounced correctly tonight.
Yep.
Just in
Or
general.
semi-
Or close to correct.
Yeah.
Patrick and who?
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, and as you can kind of see there, their maker mark just on the blade there. And this guy was based off of a custom that they designed together as a European worldwide travel friendly sort of knife / money clip.
Yeah. Couple pictures of custom ones that are out there too. We've got as well that you can check out, and they've got some really cool patterns, really unique, kind of cool man jewelry type of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so, and the multifunction aspect of it as well. Not only is it the money clip, the little sheep's foot blade with the friction folder, but you've got many uses with this knife.
A
as
little
well.
multi-tool.
Yeah, you bet. So
Yeah. Some of the uses there, little can opener, The custom is at least. Did we get confirmation on the
I
Benchmade one?
I haven't got it on the Benchmade one or not.
Okay, but the custom one at least is carburized on the end there as a glass punch, and it has pry bar as well as a microbit driver in the pry bar there, which is just nice little conveniences. So at 4.48 inches long, it would take 8 aspirins to equal the length of this guy.
It's one hell of a headache.
And the nice thing is with this nice multi-tool aspect of this knife, you can just take the spike or the pry bar or something and crush those aspirin up to get them into your system a little bit quicker.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
This is a poor idea.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. But at least it's not a level that you're going to overdose on, so
No,
you
it's
won't
just
overdose on the ailer.
getting over that cold just a little bit peppier.
Don't do it.
Be
Do
responsible. At 1.8 ounces, it would take about 7 of these to equal the weight of an average can of soup.
What kind of soup are we talking?
It was just random average. I don't know, chicken noodle.
Chicken noodle, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back to the multi-tool aspect. I'm sure there's somewhere in there, there's a can opener.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
right there.
I just like the thought that, like, yeah, you could easily fit 7 of those into a can.
Friction
Yeah.
folder can opener sounds like a terrible idea.
A little bit.
You want to lose a finger? Here's how.
I don't.
First time for everything.
You don't get a choice.
Everybody loses one.
Everybody gets one, yeah. It's a fun little, I like the idea of making a money clip. I like
Hmm.
that kind of stepping outside of normal.
And you know what? Normally, well, I guess in the past I've thought of money clips as being relatively useless because I got a wallet. But nowadays, a lot of guys just pay with shit for their phone, or with their phone rather. And if they're going to carry cash, it's only a couple bills here and there. So this is starting to make a bit more sense now.
Card wallets are really popular nowadays, too. So having
Yeah.
this in combination with a card wallet makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of a neat little feature then would be the little ball bearing that they have in the pocket clip, which is really going to aid with sliding money in and out.
Yeah.
Probably better than a standard spoon clip.
Yeah.
Is it confirmed? Is it a ball bearing? It doesn't seem to turn.
I don't think it does turn, but just because of the surface area, it's still going to
Yes,
be
100%.
nice and slidey. Yeah.
100%.
So maybe not a bearing, but it is a steel ball.
Mhm.
That's yeah.
It originally reminded me of the Todd Begg pocket clip design with the rolling bearing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if they'd gotten permission for that or not. And obviously, if it's not rolling, those
Probably
different
not.
permissions needed.
Yeah,
So
not sure, whose toes they're stepping on to actually get it to be a rolling one or not. But I would actually like to see that a little bit more.
It would have
But
been cool.
I do like it just as an overall look to it, the aesthetic of it. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Downside is when you're flipping it around and you're trying to show it off of the logo side.
There's a pronounced tilt.
yeah,
This knife really, really shows you it'll only sit one way, right?
Yeah.
So
Even then, it's rocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, really cool features on it are the blue anodization of the pivot ring as well as the two spacers
yeah.
for the pocket clip as well. So I think those are really, really cool.
Combined with the G10, the blue G10 inlay.
Yeah.
Two-tone G10 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks real nice.
So yeah.
I like the black with the blue better than some of the gray with blue that I've seen.
Yes.
Well, the Griptilian. And the Griptilian's okay with the contrast, but it's not something that I scream about. It's not,
I like it
Mhm.
better
But this
here.
kind of pops. It's
Yeah.
nice, yeah.
Yeah. And then aside from the G10 for the scales, it's using a S30 for the blade.
I think that's a perfectly reasonable choice for.
A good overall choice.
word.
Travel knife, relatively easy to maintain.
Yep.
Things like that as far as the edge goes. And how long it keeps its edge is pretty reasonable as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Steel for the backspacer, then, not aluminum.
Yeah, it is steel.
Okay, cool.
I don't know if they specified. I didn't look that up.
No, but I would imagine in the pry bar screwdriver aspect,
You'd
they're not
want-
going to
yeah.
be using a titanium or
Mhm.
an aluminum alloy or something like that. That would probably be a poor choice on their end. If
Yeah.
They were, yeah.
Indeed, it would.
I do like the fact that it's a little pry bar back there too. That's convenient, especially for those guys that like to poke around with the point of their knife.
Mhm.
Now you've got something you can do and not break your knife.
Yeah. One of the things that I really like about this guy is how modular all the different features are, because you can flip the pry bar around, reorientate it. You can flip the pocket clip over to either side. If you don't want to have the pocket clip in there, they do supply little screws so you can plug the holes and not worry about lint traps and stuff like that, and not having the blue spacers sticking out, getting caught on things.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that. That's very cool.
It actually comes with a set of slightly shorter screws. So you can take the spacer and the clip off completely, put those shorter screws in, and they're still concealed on the holes, and then just have it in your pocket
Interesting.
as the knife by itself. Yeah.
That's very cool, actually.
So there are some really nice touches and nice attention to detail with this guy for sure.
Yeah. Even the traction on the handle, that slight just line cross cut does give you enough that you feel like you've got a decent texture to it. It's not going to necessarily slip out of your hand. Also because of how flat it is in your hand.
If you can get it in your hand.
It's not going to be twisting around as far as the way it sits, right? So
For such a flat, wide handle, I think that's about all that was necessary.
Yep. So now that we've kind of pretty much said all the nice stuff that we do have to say about this guy, we're going to get into the bad about it.
there's some negatives. There's some small things that, honestly, if they tweak those small things and re-release a version 2, I can see a lot of people loving this knife.
I would buy one.
But they need a version 2 first.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Kind of one of the main issues that we're all in consensus is about is the front of that finger choil kind of sweeps back in, and that bites in pretty harshly to your finger.
Yes, we understand.
have you shown the indentation?
Yeah, that's what I was doing up at the camera there.
Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. If you put any pressure into this little part of the knife right here, it digs in something fierce. It's unbelievable.
And yes, we understand that this is a friction folder. You're generally speaking not going to have to squeeze that hard to get a good grip on it. Yes, you should always be pressing edge first, but that bites with the slightest provocation.
Yeah,
No, go ahead.
you don't have to squeeze hard. If I hold it digs in.
Yeah, there's already indentations just from a light squeeze.
Yeah, like holding it as lightly as possible, that's the first point that makes contact.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate because it's so close to not being an issue. Like, for my mileage, if you were to continue that curve down to that point of the top of the sharpening choil and then make that full thickness, the full stock thickness right up to there, I think it'd be a lot more comfortable. But because it's so cramped, your finger wants to go into that choil, but it pays for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And because this is so square, you can't really get away with coming back on it because then you're pushing the blade forward and it just...
It's really hard to come back on things for sure.
The thing I was going to say too is that in the intention of use, in the idea of being able to travel around a bunch of different European countries where you're not necessarily allowed to have other knives, that kind of puts this thing into an intention of use that's a little more versatile. It needs to be able to do things that a knife this size and as a friction folder wouldn't normally necessarily have to do.
But the one argument I did say to this is it's as much a piece of jewelry and accessory because of the pocket clip, and they even advertise it because of the multi-tool function. So
as a money clip, it's a great little tool.
Bottle opener, things like that type of thing. So when you're looking at the knife, unfortunately for us, we're knife guys, and the knife is the primary thing. So as soon as you get it in the grip, we realize that the knife definitely has some shortcomings. But this knife is trying to make up for it by having some other pros to it. So
the only way that I can comfortably hold this knife, honestly, is in a pinch grip.
Yeah.
But now I'm not securing the knife in any way, shape, or form, and that worries me a little bit.
Now, in a little more of a metropolis environment as well, probably not heavy duty. You're opening plastic packages, you're opening food, you're cutting food,
cutting cheese.
Yeah, exactly, right? So again, not doing the hard pressure, even a pinch grip, just fine for doing kitchen prep and food prep and things like small tasks, right?
Small tasks.
So,
almost.
And I just noticed there as you were playing, because of the finger choil and the angle that it's at, it slopes up and leaves a gap. So only, like when you're trying to go flat, only like the front 3/4 of the blade is touching.
So that thing that I gripe about every flipper known to man having,
It's done here.
These
Yep.
three
Out of
guys,
flipper, it did
these
it.
three guys are pointing out the microscopic clearance that this non-flipper has, like it's a big
Well,
freaking deal.
Well, it's not so much a big deal for me. It's just funny that I noticed it while you were playing with it.
It's not a pure clearance. It doesn't have a true clearance on the blade.
No, but
But come on.
a chop and drag would get through what you needed to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
for sure.
And that's, you know what, I think the saving grace for this it is enough to get a job done. That being said, enough to get the job done, but maybe not quite what I would have hoped for at this price point. Teflon washers.
Yeah.
That's kind of a
It's
piss
a
off.
slap in the face.
Yeah, that's one of our other main gripes is inside there that would be really hard to see are little plastic Teflon washers.
And maybe this is me being knife nerdy and thinking, oh, prestige, it's got to be all metal components if possible. But I don't know.
Again, for the price point.
like,
Yeah.
For the price point,
Yeah.
it would just work better.
And when you pointed it out the first time and you saw it, I still chuckle about my response as well. The knife has absolutely no detent whatsoever. So to solve the fact that they were lazy about putting a detent in, they put Teflon, which has enough resistance that you don't have to worry about the knife ever falling open.
I just thought of something. Because that is a knife for international travel and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did they use Teflon as an idea that it would slow the blade down in opening?
Potentially
enough?
gravity opening,
Yeah.
international
Kind of what he was
cleaning,
implying,
yeah,
yeah.
even that type of thing. So
my only counter argument to that is you could tighten down the pivot a bit more with phosphor bronze and get effectively the same result.
you could
Yeah.
indeed, and having a detent on it would still make it relatively
And it would still be
smooth
more
once
smooth.
it would be
Yeah.
deploying, right?
Mhm.
So honestly, as far as the function of this knife, Teflon probably doesn't affect the function of this knife too much. But for the price point of what you're getting and the knife nerds of what we expect nowadays, we would like to see bronze phosphor. Ball bearings are probably overkill, but
for a
yeah.
knife
Especially
like
for a
this.
if
friction
they had
folder.
put roller bearings on this little thing, it would have been a front flipper waiting to happen.
With no
Yeah.
detent, just clack.
It would have been- yeah, scary. People losing fingers is what
No
happens.
kidding.
Yeah. What?
I was just going to say, kind of one of the other negatives that I've heard some people saying is how fat the blade is, or the knife in general is. And it does make it a little awkward, but I kind of forgive it because of the multifunctional. It's designed partially as a money clip as well, and generally money clips are wider to be able to hold the money easier. So
I believe that was the first thing you said when you got it in your hand.
Yeah.
When you played with it the first time, was you're like, I don't like how fat it is, because it's a chubby monkey as far as how much it takes up in your palm, right?
This isn't really something you want to do
So-
prolonged cutting tasks with.
No.
But that's not really what it was made for, so
Yeah.
it kind of gets a pass on that.
Yep.
If it's the backup to your backup, I mean, you're never going to use it anyways. It doesn't matter.
Shifting stuff around.
centering stuff.
It's got to be centered. Come on.
This is the smallest little gripe, and it doesn't actually really matter. But I noticed when I was looking at a different model of the exact same knife that the scratch patterns are different on different knives in
Yeah.
the pocket clip.
Yeah.
And some orientations are nicer than others.
It might be a little hard to see on the camera, but yeah, on the pocket clip, there's a brushed finish.
It's brushed. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, on this example, it's straight in line with the knife. On other ones that we've seen, it's been on like a 45, and that looks really good.
It like follows the lines of the knife. And
Yeah.
it looks
That's
really
interesting.
nice.
See, for me, what that means is they're probably making that pocket clip out of a sheet. They just
Yeah.
they do a brush finish.
That's
The
exactly what
pocket
it
clip
is.
is aligned in different orientations,
Yeah,
which means that for the ultra picky among us, they might actually have a preference.
I wouldn't not buy the knife because of that reason, but if I could get one or the other, I'd
it's
probably pick.
Interesting. I hadn't even realized that was an aspect.
Yeah, no, it's
little touch, but it adds.
it's
Yeah.
definitely something that can add to the overall enjoyment
For
Mhm.
sure.
for me.
Yeah.
So who would use the lanyard hole? Would anyone put a lanyard in that thing?
Put a monkey fist on it.
Maybe if I were to like take the pocket clip and like vest pocket it, I could see having a lanyard or something on it. But
Okay.
other than that, no.
And even honestly, even keyring, if you're doing
Yeah.
something
It could work on the keyring.
on
Yep.
there, it's a bigger. And if you took the pocket clip
Yeah.
off itself,
All
it's
right.
no
I'm not
bigger.
huge on the friction folder keyring idea, but
But you know,
Tighten the pivot a little more.
yeah, honestly, you can tighten the pivot a little more, and even with it pretty dialed in right now, even tonight, like you'd basically have to hit the tab for it to become any sort of an issue, right? Yeah.
it would hit.
Paul likes to leave his stuff dangling.
So I think potentially for the guys who don't want it on the clip, because that was something you had mentioned was on the clip. It can be a little awkward with this pry bar.
It's definitely uncomfortable on the clip in your pocket.
And I've also heard of people talking about on the clip this being a little bit uncomfortable. If you sat down or twisted funny, this would dig into your pocket a little
I
bit.
tried that and I didn't get any.
I also
digs.
tried it and
Yeah.
I had no issue.
It's so wide. I have no idea why people are making that particular assumption. Like,
so.
But yeah, no, reaching into your pocket past that
A pry bar,
is uncomfortable. But you can reverse it pretty
But like
easily.
Nigel was saying earlier, it's modular. You can flip it around. It does work pretty good for that. So I could see actually people removing the clip and doing something like that.
Yeah.
or even just like coin pocket carry kind of thing. Just slip it in. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm. So getting on to the grading of this guide now that we've done picking it apart.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, we had things to say about it for sure.
I didn't even mention the shape of the blade. Didn't even go there.
Yeah, you can get into that in your grading and aesthetics.
Yeah. Go. What's your grade for this thing?
My grade for this thing was a, I don't know, generous, less than generous, a grade. Why is my thing not up? God damn it.
We're not the people to be asking that.
Yeah, so I gave it a decent score in like the objective categories. Cost materials was a little bit low because of the Teflon washer and things like that.
Sure.
But it's mostly 8s and 9s across the board outside of that. Other than ergonomic execution, another low score. For my personal side of things, I gave this an ergonomic preference of 0 because I really don't like the way this thing feels in any shape. And I've noticed that a lot of people also don't like it in their hand.
So you think it's a common experience?
Yes. So, damn it.
What does that mean? Give us a letter.
Overall letter is an F. It is 1 point away from getting a D.
Fair enough.
Score is
54.
54. There we go.
So if
For
this
a
was a
D.
high school grade,
For
it
F.
probably would have gotten
For F,
bumped into a D and passed them along and out of the class.
But you can do better. Stay around.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
They didn't try enough to warrant giving them the pass.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
That's not true, actually. In this case, that's not true, but...
So they tried pretty good.
Yeah, no. I like the idea of it. I wish that it was executed in a different way.
Yeah, that is fair. Joe.
Sure. I was a little bit more gracious with my grading system. I gave it a C. Got 69 points, 2 above what's needed for a C. I gave it pretty good marks across the board. Actually, for personal, it was all 7s except for enthusiasm.
That's good.
Went down to 6. As far as cost of materials, I mean, it's S30, it's G10, it's only like 190 Canadian on the shelf, approximately. So I mean that it didn't get knocked down so much because it's a bad knife overall. I gave it a C because of those 2 main issues that, well, for me, were a big deal. Specifically, that choil and the Teflon.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really, really dislike Teflon, especially at this price point.
I think overall that's probably why a lot of us scored it low.
Yeah.
Was those 2 factors right there.
That
right?
choil,
So-
I mean, again, me who can get around most hotspots and not care about it, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And for something that's supposed to be small, relatively comfortable and easy to use, this just misses the mark. And I'd like to like this knife, so it's disappointing.
I want a knife to do this exact function for me. I just don't want that one.
I scored it just a hint lower than Joe. I scored it a 68, which is also a C. The big thing for me was that the cost versus materials. S30 G10. I've kind of had the running joke that as soon as Benchmade puts an aluminum pivot collar, someone has to pay $50 more for it.
Seems like it.
Than the knife that is the exact same knife without that pivot collar type of thing, right? So, yeah, a little bit of a premium, but I can't justify how much they're charging for this knife. Both in personal materials and objective, I scored it low. I did score it high on like cutting ability and even aesthetics. I really like the way that this knife looks. I'd like them to come out with a 0.2 version with all of the like kind of tweakings to come out with a better one for sure. But yeah, overall, I can't get on board. And the big thing is the finger choil. It dug into my index finger so bad that was brutal. So, yeah.
And then I ended up giving it a D at a 62. It did pretty good overall for the objective side of things. Lowest I gave it was 5 for the lockup and actuation, just because of the Teflon aspect. It's not smooth. It was kind of like a workaround as far as not bothering to put in a detent or anything like that.
At that price,
Yeah. For the objectives, lowest was a 4 for ergonomics. Definitely graded this higher than the smock because I can actually hold this and be able to use it. So it actually got points for that, despite the awkwardness of trying to use it.
understandable. Yeah. So kind of missed the mark as far as the knife guys are concerned. Maybe if you're really into money clips, this is a nice addition. But
yeah,
if you're doing a lot of traveling,
Yeah.
overseas stuff like that, again, international markets, I can see this doing a lot better than potentially a North American market where a lot of us can work with a 3.5 inch blade and not have too much of an issue, no matter where you are, right?
That's it.
So fun idea, but I think with the right tweaking,
it'll be much more.
It could be
fun
something
idea.
really cool if they did a little bit of tweak on it.
a reevaluation on either the price point or the materials to justify the price point, I think, is the other big thing as well.
for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely, I feel that some of our harshness was, as kind of Dennis mentioned earlier, that we are very much the knife guys here, and we are critiquing it as knife guys, where this is trying to be more of an all-around, branching out to more people than just knife
Multi-tool
guys.
pocket or money clip.
It's like, asking a knife guy, how ergonomic is this Leatherman Wave to use
Yeah,
as a knife?
yeah.
Like, put the multi-tool in your hand and that knife sucks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But there's a lot more to it than just the knife blade, right?
Yeah. So take our low grades with a grain of salt. It definitely has many features that make it appealing and could be a useful tool for many people, for sure.
Definitely.
As always, get it in hand, see what you think, make a final decision that way. Even if disappointment is the flavor of the evening.
Yep. And yeah, I would like to thank the Cutting Edge once again for donating the knife to us for our review purposes. It is muchly appreciated.
Thanks again, guys, for letting us be
always
able to
thank
borrow
you,
this
yeah.
and check it out. Really, really cool knife. One of the newer ones on the market, so we like that we get to play with some of the new stuff and
Mhm.
Right away.
As
be on
early as we
top.
do.
Yeah, as current as we possibly can be. So
For sure. And yeah, I think that should be all of that we have for the Aller.
There it is.
Yeah.
that entire sentence was just a stumble.
It kind of was. It kind of was. Let's try that again. So that being said, this is kind of all that we have to say for the Aller. So we should wrap it up here. And this is Nigel the Smith saying goodbye.
I am who I am. I'm Dennis Vipers.
I am the Iron Joe.
XL.ca.
We will catch you again next time.
We don't need bigger knives.